Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Talk That Talk Thursday. Holy moly. It's Thursday already. And so, on Talk That Talk Thursday, just for all the podcasters out there, it's a time when we do videos, and sometimes we'll take sometimes we'll discuss other things outside of the digital asset space, maybe the political arena, maybe the madness of the distractions, maybe perhaps the bank failings, some things kind of going on in the real world outside of crypto. But in today's video, we're going to do that. We are going to do in the podcast. We are going to do that in a segment of the show. But we want to feature our guy. We want to feature our guy, Jung Link, who who went in on some of the people over there at Ripple. Shares some truths. Because it's important to share some truths. It's important because we got to know what it is that we hold. So I'm really excited. I wanted to share this. Jungle is a dude who is not afraid to speak his mind. I think it's important. Doesn't appear to be big on the whole fanboy thing and putting other people on altars and all that kind of nonsense that can happen in the space. And so thinks for himself, speaks his mind. He and I even had a couple of back and forths and disagreements, right? And it's just mutual respect, and we understand it. At times we can both agree to disagree, right? But yeah, I really like the fact that he kind of speaks his mind. So I'm really excited to share this video. He says the title of his video was, I think it said, "Well, now I'm angry." Really, really interesting. I can't wait to go over that. I will do our little segment here on this Talk That Talk Thursday outside of crypto. I was going to share another video, but it's just so freaking alarming. The trafficking that's going on in the world and in this country is alarming. It really, really is. But I'm not going to share that on this one. I want to highlight Jungle. I want to share on. I mean, I am going to share some madness coming out of the current administration. Oh boy, madness. I will share that video with you for sure. I'm like, what? When I read it and I saw it, I was like, what? But anyway, I mean, why would you doubt it coming from this current administration? And we're going to get in a little bit more into that book, The Great Taking. I hope you guys went out and downloaded that PDF. Tell me you could read that prologue and not order the book. Dano, tell me you read that prologue and you didn't order the book. Fascinating. You want you want to talk about a patriot. You want to talk about coming together as patriots and taking back this country. Did you say nope? You didn't read the prologue, or nope? You read the prologue and you didn't get the book. Which one is it, Dano? Right? So yeah, talk about patriots. And this is so hugely important, and it all makes sense. It all makes sense. I'm telling you. The Great Taking. I dare you to read that. You can download the PDF. You don't have to spend any money. You can download the PDF. I dare you to read the prologue. I don't know. Is it prologue? I think it's prologue. I dare you to read the beginning of that book, that prologue, and not get this ding, 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 this revelation, this light bulb moment, and then turn around and get a little angry and say, something needs to be done because we have been harmed and we have been played against one another. And they're still looking to do something that's going to destroy 97, 98% financially. I challenge you to read that prologue. I challenge you. Anyway, let's get into our guy, Chung Link. Yeah, mad respect for him and people like King Solomon, who are willing to speak their mind. Obviously, Crypto Eddie for sure, but willing to speak their mind, not go on this little fanboy, tour, and speak the truth, because it's important to have both sides and not be afraid of you know, the cancel culture, I don't the cancel cultural nonsense. I can't think of another C. You know, the you're being negative if you share some harsh truths about Ripple. You're just being negative. You know, not afraid of the supposed adult in the room and Brad Kimes uh is important, right? Hugely important. This supposed adult in the room will say, you know, if you say something bad about Ripple, that's negative. And you're part of cancel culture. And, you know, we can't have that, you know. So people like Jungle and Solomon, some others, people like Jungle for sure, right? They recognize that, you know, they haven't walked themselves into a corner and now because they don't like the view, want to blame it on the XRP holders. You know what I mean? That's what happened with the supposed adult in the room, Brad Kimes. But Jungle goes in on this video. It's interesting stuff, Rafi. It's interesting stuff. But let's share this little Talk That Talk Thursday moment that just had me like scratching my head. Like, what? And people know this and like, what? All right, let me share this. Let me share this. I'm telling you the real big will. This was like alarming to hear this. Alarming, babe. Alarming. Hear this right here. According to, you know, at Wall Street Apes, we're going to listen to this dude here talk. So this is, you know, it's just something on X. It says here, Hunter Biden actually owns 10% of a company called Eplata, EPLATA, which is a microfinancing loan company for illegal immigrants coming up through the southern border. Yeah. At the same time, the current administration's Justice Department put out a notice telling this is according to this dude, I'm not saying this is according to this dude in this little video we're going to hear. At the same time, the current administration's Justice Department put out a notice telling the banks that that the Justice Department would take legal action against any bank who refused loans to illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, the first son has an equity investment in a company that profits off those very loans. Like what? We obviously we'll fact check it. This is just something on X, but like what? All right, let's see.
For illegal immigrants coming up next. So then, the third one was Hunter
Biden. This is again, probably have to fact check this. This is dude. His name is Mike Benz, B-E-N-Z, or Benz, executive director of Foundation for Freedom Online. I don't know the organization. I don't know this dude. I'm not suggesting that this is correct or factual, but it's interesting if it is true. But let's listen to Mike.
So then, the third one was Hunter Biden actually owns 10% of a company called ePlata, which is a micro financing loan company for illegal immigrants coming up through the southern border. And so, you know, at the same time, the Biden administration Justice Department put out a notice telling the banks that the Justice Department would take legal action against any bank who refused loans to illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, you know, the first son has an equity investment in a company that profits off those very loans.
Oh man, it's no wonder a lot of nations laughing currently at the U.S. It's no wonder. Holy smokes. All right, so here's Jungle. Okay, we're going to listen to, so I highly recommend you listen to the video. Very good video, very entertaining. Yeah, just take a listen. It's pretty cool deal. Shout out to Jungle Inc.
Just a quick disclaimer. You may see Salty Jungle kind of emerge a little bit in this video. Overall, these are two of my favorite people in blockchain, Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz. But if that type of thing triggers you, come back tomorrow. It'll be a totally bullish video, full of excitement, fun, cheer. But I'm telling you right now, as we work through this video, I might get a little bit testy at certain points. If you're fine with that, stick around.
You guys ever disagreed on anything as it pertains to XRPL or Ripple in this time? And how have you gone over maybe some of those disagreements? The only thing I can think of that we've really disagreed on at times is sort of how much Ripple can do. How many projects can we take on? Is it a small number of things that we think are really big, or a large number of things that we think are interesting, but not necessarily, not necessarily world changing? So this is sort of the scope. And of course, that's evolved over time as Ripple's resources have evolved.
And it's just funny too, because for me, and I watched this clip several times, there's David doing his, his way of his kind of his, normal, natural honesty. And then you get the CEO speak, the polished CEO speak from Brad Garlinghouse.
I'll just add, I truly say this, I'm not just saying he's sitting here, but I think David Schwartz is one of the smartest people I've ever met. And so it's really hard to disagree with someone that you think is that smart. Like, if I disagree, it's like, okay, I'm doing something wrong.
No, I actually do warn people frequently that I can be very persuasive even when I'm wrong.
He does. They should actually.
He can be very persuasive, and he doesn't back down, and he can be spectacularly wrong a lot of times. You got to be careful with Dave. In some ways, he could be the Pied Piper leading you down a path of destruction here. I think back to when he said, well, DeFi, that stuff, that's kind of iffy, but micropayments, that's going to be the first thing that leads to mass adoption.
Right. Factual, right? We were all here, or at least a lot of us are here when David said, I remember him saying on more than one occasion, is the world going to come to an end because David came to some conclusion years ago and he was not right? Is the world going to come to an end? Is it over because now they're focusing on institutional DeFi? Or is it just the reality of a startup company trying to figure it out? Or is it that kind of reality? Is that negative? Unbelievable. Are we all now going to start a not so freedom zone because of this? I noticed that the XRP entertaining content creators didn't cover this. It's an interesting question that they do posed. These are opposing views on kind of how the company should, in direction that they go. You're going to have that at times. One proves out, right or wrong, but you're going to have that. Right? It's a startup.
Guy's human, makes mistakes, and it's hard to argue with him, but look at that guy. You got to be careful with this guy, I'm telling you. Genius or not, he can lead you down the wrong path from time to time, as can anyone. But again, you have this problem because he is so smart. It is hard to go against him, and sometimes you should. Just be careful.
Careful.
He's done that.
And that, because if I'm wrong and I persuade Brad that I'm right, that benefits nobody.
But look, I think he's incredibly smart, incredibly passionate. His more recent adoption of trying to be a comedian on Twitter, I'm less impressed with. We sometimes disagree with his. I did call him a number of times, encouraging him to think about things he was posting on Twitter.
I like his jokes.
My wife's threatening to buy me new joke books. You've got your wife on one side and Brad on the other trying to rein you in to no avail. Let's maybe talk about the evolution of Ripple as a firm and XRPL.
Here we go.
I have the sort of, how has it changed, right? In terms of what people might think of it and what it's sort of become today.
I think from the earliest stages, some things have remained constant. You know, very early on, we decided we weren't trying to be a consumer outreach play. We wanted to play at kind of the infrastructure enterprise side of things. And you know, early on when I joined the company, and David predates me by a couple of years, when I joined Ripple, you know, we were trying to do a number of things around smart contracts with Codius, around identity. You know, just listening to David speak this morning, it's interesting to see thematically how some of these things are still relevant and still omnipresent. But we decided to really focus on payments at the time. As David has suggested, we have subsequently kind of expanded beyond that. You know, we now have, at the time when I joined, we had about 80 people. Now we have hundreds and hundreds of people. And so I feel like we can do more things.
Let me add this. First of all, working with institutions, they made that call because they thought that was the safer route. David's talked about this in the past. Originally, Ripple started out with retail use cases. And the thought process was, look, if you're working with institutions, they're supposed to do their own due diligence. We're not going to have as many problems with regulators. They ended up getting sued anyway. At this point in time, legal stuff is kind of settled out, and while we are in this state of ambiguity, I agree Ripple should stand pat and just continue on with what they're doing. But the minute, and I mean the minute, we have clear rules and regulations in this country, Ripple's got to roll out retail use cases, because that base will use anything. We're going to talk about it here shortly, but anything they put out, retail will jump all over. They respect Ripple. They want to use their products. You have a huge market there just ready to jump in here and use anything to do with Ripple, where it's more of a struggle to get institutions on board. I think once we have clear laws, they got to jump in there and you know, leverage their goodwill with the retail user of cryptocurrencies that respects the work they do, because that liquidity, it spends just as good as the institutional liquidity. And I think it would be massive. Again, you need clear laws. You don't want to, you know, get up a new lawsuit of some sort, but it's a huge opportunity going forward. I don't buy for a minute that they're not interested in retail use cases. And when we see, you know, with finality, some regulations roll out here, I think you'll see them jump in there in a big way.
But I will say, I think the culture of Ripple, I hope we continue. And frankly, the culture of the whole XRP community, which has just been phenomenal, is like, how do you create small groups who get a lot of shit done, as opposed to, you know, layers and layers. Like,
here we go.
Let's try stuff. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. We try again. You know, we built something called Liquidity Hub, I guess 3 years ago, which really didn't play out the way we thought. And some people say, oh, well, we failed. Like, we succeeded by trying something new in a nascent, exciting space. It didn't develop the way we thought it would. We decided that's not the right place for us to focus. Let's put those resources somewhere else.
What a wonderful attitude. Just a beacon of sunshine here. Look, Apple Computers, they spent $1 billion a year trying to build a new EV. And after a decade, $10 billion down the drain, they decided, you know what? We're scrapping that. We can't compete. Projects dead. This happens when you're trying to create the future. But the problem is, if you're going to have an Apple EV car failure, you got to have some iPhones, some iPads, some MacBooks. You got to have some success. Everything you try cannot fail. And to date, when you look at the investments Ripple's made, you know, ever so often they'll have some new exciting product they're rolling out. I'll make videos. A bunch of other YouTubers will make videos. Will tell you how amazing this is. And of course, the great Ripple will succeed. And it never does. It all.
Right? Those are some harsh truths, right? Those are some really, really harsh truths. And I think it's important to know the truth. I think it's important that I always say this on the channel all the time. It's not enough to just be hyped up. You have to know what it is that you hold, right? You got to know the good and the bad. And it's important to know the good and the bad. I'm fairly certain there can't be an XRP I don't know if you want to say content creator. I don't know if you want to say just a holder, but my land, can you not see the genius in motion here that's going on, Ripple? Like, I don't know. It would be hard to not be able to see it. And if in order to be able to see it, you also have to look at the L's. You have to look at those. You have to look at the speak around payments and how they're kind of speaking around it as to whether it was successful or not, or ODL, right? You just got to understand that is that's when they're out in the public, what are they going to do? Speak doom and gloom? Is that what they're going to do? They're not going to speak doom and gloom. You as an investor, you as an XRP holder, have to be able to decipher through that stuff and understand that this is part of, they're trying to figure it out. It's a startup company. And generally, it's about 10 years till you figure it out. And then it's the next 10 years where you grab significant market share in business. It's, first of all, they've been in business for more than 10 years. Already have won with that. Right? You understand? And so, look, I always tell people all the time, Brad is the CEO and he's in charge of the direction. He is in charge of the direction. And he's going to get some right and he's going to get some wrong. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. It's unfortunate that, you know, the people like the supposed adult in the room and Brad Kimes want to blame the XRP holders and for pointing to Ripple's L's or losses or not being where Ripple thought they were going to be with ODL, with Liquidity Hub. It's unfortunate that those two walk themselves into a corner and where they essentially can't even say anything negative, because if your sponsor is linked to and their number one product is Ripple SPVs, how much shade are you going to throw on Ripple? Even if the shade is truth, and that's cool, do your sponsor thing, but don't put it on the XRP holder when they point to the ills and say that you came up with some imaginary timeline for success, and that's on you. You came up with this. You came up with a timeline for 589. You came up with some date for institutions coming. No, bro. You did that. You hyped them up. And you failed to share the L's or the little what do I say? The workarounds in these quarterly reports. What I mean by workarounds is sharing things like the total number of transactions over the last how many years, and not sharing the 24-hour volume or the daily volume. Not showing, well, what are the sales of these products that you've been selling to institution? What does that look like in numbers? You got to know you got to know the good and the bad. Got to know the good and the bad. And I think it's important. And I think that it's important for content creators to share it. Jungle knows that Ripple's genes in motion, but he also knows you got to get something right. Look, he said Apple spent $1 billion a year for 10 years. $1 billion a year for 10 years. And don't have any finished products. Don't have any finished product in terms of the EV. $1 billion a year. But those shareholders are good. You know why they're good? They're good because they got all these W's and all these other things. So they can put out with the losses, that little loss of $1 billion a year for 10. And this was John was suggesting. It's time to come up with the win. And I agree. It's time to come up with a major win. A major win. And I will add to it. I will add to it. It's hard, you know, I don't know how how long the lawsuit took, how long it's been. You got to give major props for still being able to stand tall. A lot of companies would have folded, would have just given in. You got to give them props for that. But I can tell you from a shareholder perspective, it's always about what have you done for me lately. That ain't going to change because Brad Garlinghouse is a dapper looking dude. It's always about what have you done for me lately. But if I was a betting person, and I'm not, but if I was a betting person, I would bet on Brad getting it right. And I'm going to share with you what I believe wholeheartedly has been the answer. It has been right in front of them the whole time, and they just figured it out. But at least they figured it out. Let's continue to listen to the jungle.
Always fails. It always fails. It's always a disaster, whether it's, coil, micropayments and blogging, and just nightmare after nightmare, omni storage, and just all the services that Ripple's rolled out. They keep trying to change the name of on-demand liquidity. It's not getting adoption any better, no matter how many times they try to repackage that thing. They have to get a win, and a big win. And it's not like, oh, well, we're trying different things. Great. But some of the things you try, you have to have big success. I'm telling you right now, if we come back 3 years and he's on this stage and like, oh, we tried to do a stable coin and, well, it just didn't work out. We need to put our resources elsewhere. Forget it. I'm telling you right this moment, they have to get stable coins correct. And they should. The XRP ledger will give you a world-class experience. 3-second settlement times, cheap payments. You trust Ripple so you can trust their stable coin. You would have to be a buffoon to fumble this. They have to hit stable coins and release, a top-notch product and get adoption. And there's no reason why they can't. They got the money, the funding, they can get the listing. So you have the on-ramps and off-ramps on exchanges. They could get this done, but it's do or die for this company. They got to get a win. They cannot post another loss. He can laugh it off. Look, Liquidity Hub had nothing to do with XRP. It just shows that Ripple has a problem coming up with a business idea, launching it, and scaling that product or service to a successful level. It ain't funny. It's not a joke, and it's continuous. Failure after failure after failure. They got to get it done with stable coins, and they should. They should dominate, but they got to execute. We can't have any more of this Mickey Mouse nonsense going on. Brad better get this sucker done, or it's going to be a big problem. If their stablecoin launch is not successful, this company is in big, big trouble.
Well, there it is, fam. Now he goes on to praise Brad Garlinghouse for steering the ship through this lawsuit. And I don't think you can give enough praise for that. I really don't. I don't think you give enough praise for that. That is a scary situation. I mean, it was a scary situation for Brad and Chris. You cannot give enough credit for that. But again, from the shareholders' perspective, it is always going to be about what have you done for me lately? Always. Let me see if I can get to the chat here. Boston Mash is in the building. How are you, my friend? Stephen Kier. How are you, Stephen? I appreciate you checking in. Where are you checking in from, Stephen? I don't think I've seen that name here before. Contact Food. Wow, the corruption is staggering. You're talking about current administration stuff, right? I'm like, look, I don't know if it's true. I don't know. Some dude named Mike Benz from some foundation saying something. I don't know. But if it's true, if that is true, what are we talking about here? What is going on with this country? If that's true. Danny Love is in the building. You guys want to learn how to make some money? Hook up with Danny Love. Danny Love knows how to make some cheddar in this space. Small Business Doctors is in the building. How are you, my guy? Miss Crypto C says she's in the building. Yeah. Michael Marchese, yo, from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. What's going on, bro? What's going on? Contact Food is very right. Very correct. Just goes to show no one can foresee how all this will develop and what adoption will actually look like. Of course. Right? It's a startup company. They've got to figure some stuff out. It's just the way it is. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. You know? But Jungle is right, in my humble opinion. They got to get an L. I mean, they got to get a W in the books. They need a big time win. Stable coins is going to be massive, but don't freaking sleep on the tokenization of real world assets outside of that stable coin. This XLR thing, you know, people, you know, I'm glad to hear David, as a developer, as a big time genius developer, just say, look, this is just what it is. I know we want more stuff on the XRPL. I know we want it to be XRPL Wonderland, but it's not how it works. It's just not how it works. The XRPL is a different kind of monster. It's different. It's not Solana's blockchain. It's different, which means you have to treat it differently. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You know, I firmly believe that this XLR integration is going to be a game changer. Why? Because I would rather put my money on 60 to 70 ecosystems of digital asset holders who are all in on crypto than a freaking institution with billions of dollars. That has restraints, that are handcuffed, that are waiting around for things, for regulations. Nah, give me access to 60 or 7 mad raven ecosystem fans. That's what you get with the XLR integration. It's the EVM and it's the freaking IBCs. Give me that. Give them a shot to recognize the prowess of the XRPL. Give them some incentives to provide liquidity and watch what freaking happens. Watch what happens. If I had to bet, I'm betting on those 60 to 70 chains or ecosystems of raving digital asset fans. Not on some institution. No. With billions of dollars? No. I mean, come on already. It's just really that easy. XRP Nick's in the building. How are you, bro? Says, I agree with Jungle's video today. I was getting a little tired of his negativity over the past couple of months, but feel him on this one. I hear you, my guy. Absolutely. Right? I do. Look, it's just, it's okay. You know, it is okay. Look, and I don't know if anyone's ever said to themselves, how many times has Brad Garlinghouse been a CEO? I don't know if anyone has asked themselves that before they hop over onto Link2 and get some SPVs. How many times has he been a CEO? Do you know? It's a different thing than being some executive officer. It's different. That's why I said in my video, or a video or two ago, I'm excited about Jack McDonald being part of the freaking team. I'm excited about that. He's got some CEO experience over Brad. Brad needs that. He needs that. If it's merely just a freaking sounding board from a CEO to a CEO, if it's just merely that, and that's all it is, he needs it. I mean, look, I know he's got Chris's phone, right? Dude, Chris is freaking chairman off. He's off in other spots and other things. He is not there for the day-to-day, for the heartbeat and the rhythm of what's going on. Brad needs someone else to go over some stuff with, who understands from what it is from a CEO's perspective. And he's going to get that from Jack McDonald. It's important. It's important. Kung Tech Fu says Cosmos has 90 IBC something or blockchains. Yeah, 90 IBC zones or blockchains. 90. So look, if I had to bet, I would bet on that. I would bet on that ecosystem, all those ecos over there. And them being able to discover the liquidity, the concentrated liquidity, them being to experience the prowess of the XRPL. And hopefully, when this stupid lawsuit is over, they'll be able to provide incentives. Because I just have a feeling that council and whoever, whatever, is like, yeah, don't do anything. Don't do anything with XRP in terms of some incentives, things, or whatever. Let's not, poke the bear. Let's not do that. Let's get this thing done and over. Let's get these what are they, remedies? Let's get these remedies things over. Then we can look at let David go play with, $1 billion or 2 billion XRP for liquidity incentives. But that's what I think they're waiting on, getting at it. They don't want to mess around. They come too far now to mess around. They've come too far now to be playing. Put some XRP or some other stuff in some liquidity thing. I mean, some liquidity incentive event. Who knows what the SEC is looking for. So we don't want to mess with that. Rodney Wilbrega's in the building. How are you, my friend? CJ Ripple is playing a long game. Without question. Without question. I'm telling you, I watched that video. This tokenization of these RWAs and XLR, I'm telling you, I hope you guys watched that video from the block. They actually streamed it. That panel that had Futureverse on there and XLR, and I think it was Corium. That segment, phenomenal. Let me see if I can find out. Phenomenal. So, I have no question that, Brad Garlinghouse is going to figure it out. And I'm happy for him that he's going to have Jack McDonald in the building. I think it's going to be really good for him. I really do. What's going on, Pookie Pookie? Pookie Pookie says America was falling. Yeah, and then you got that as well. Like Pookie Pookie says, like Brad said, why did they choose XRP to go after? Then you got that as well. You got all these other forces out here who understand that ledger, who understand XRP and that concentrated liquidity. Look, who understand this technology. And they're not trying to, kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. The fight that they put up, that lawsuit's not accidental. Some things that, that Clayton just came up with it in the 12th hour. Give me a break. What they were looking to do is disrupting. What Ripple was looking to do was disruptive. You understand? And that challenge that came with that was Ripple was one company, and it led the direction of the XRPL. It would have been 4 or 5 other things on the XRPL doing its thing. It would be different for XRP, but it wasn't. It was Ripple led. And so the powers that be, came after the Ripple because of it. Because of that. Because it was a single point of failure. And they knew at best they could crush them, and at the least they could slow them down significantly. Don't sleep on the whole JPM coin and how they're going into payments. It's not stuff that's accidental. We can't just brush aside the meeting with 15 people coming into Ripple's office from JP Morgan. What do you think that was, for coffee? It wasn't for coffee. These are all the battles that has to be that they had to go through and fight with and deal with, and still are dealing with. You can't sleep on those top banks, that cartel. You can't sleep on that. You just can't, and the central banks. You can't sleep on it. That's why I'm recommending that you guys read the freaking book, The Great Taking. You got to get it. You got to get it. Get that prologue. I'm telling you, it's the answers to all the financial. It explains all the questions. Think about what's going on in the U.S. right now. Think about the great financial divide that's going on right now. And then you're going to discover the plan is nasty. The plan is absolutely nasty. People keep sleeping on Charles Schwab. He's just a small part of the plan. You will own nothing and like it. He's just a small part. But you got to know. If you don't know, how are you going to fight it? We need true patriots, not those just claiming to be a patriot. We need true patriots. It's a good book. It's a good book. Let me see if I can't find that thing. I have no idea how to. In your opinion, how many XRP should you have to retire in 5 years? I have no clue, brother. No clue what that looks like. Yes, it can be neutralized. Contextual, you're right. The plan is wicked, but can be neutralized. Let me just share something that a guy from the Futureverse, the Root Network, he caught the bigger picture. And the dude for Ripple, for XRP and the XRPL, and the dude got giddy excited. Dude from Futureverse. Let me see if I can't find it. There's my guy, Jungle. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, there it is right here. All right, let's do this. This is worth the wait. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to do desktop? Let me do desktop, because sometimes when I go to edit these videos, it doesn't work as great. Take a listen. This is the Futureverse guy. This is Axelar, and I believe this guy here is from Quorium.
As well as what excites you about the upcoming XRP Ledger integration?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Axelar is known for cross-chain communication, but it's something that a lot of people don't still fully understand. Like, how we break it down is, when it comes to cross-chain interoperability, you have asset transfers, aka known as bridging, as well as something known as message passing. And message passing is this abstract concept that many people don't fully grasp, right? But what it really is ability to pass any payload between two different types of blockchains. It could be a command, it could be like an instruction. The end result is, with cross-chain messaging, you're able to build all kinds of chain agnostic applications where you're able to combine like very complex functions to be executed in a single step, creating these one-click experiences. And the end result is it helps create a world of like chain abstraction, where the end user is able to do whatever they want without knowing what chain they're using and what chain is even underneath it. So with Axelar, this is something that we've been working on for the last 3 years. Axelar today, as I mentioned, connects to 60 plus blockchains, all the major EVM chains, L2s, as well as Cosmos IBC chains. And what we're doing with Ripple is something that's incredibly exciting. We're going to be connecting both XRPL as well as the new EVM sidechain so that they have full interoperability to all of the existing chains on the Axelar network. So now imagine a world where you can bridge any asset from these EVM and Cosmos chain to XRPL and the other way back. The XRP can now be available on any of these chains, as well as the tokenized assets, RWAs, that the Ripple team has been busy building. But this is just the beginning. When we have message passing unlocked, we'll also see an influx of applications from these EVM chains, Cosmos chains, to expand onto XRPL as well as the new EVM sidechain. I think in the long run, what we'll see is Ripple's XRPL as well as the sidechain will become the hub for institutions and for institutional grade DeFi, really unlocking a whole new world of possibilities and growth for the Ripple and XRPL community.
Yeah.
So, and something that he said is important. This is the second guy who is saying that. But in addition to that, what he's saying is, you know, you just kind of envision or vision a world where you're just, you know, you got your Xamin app, right? You got your Xamin app and you want to hop on a liquidity pool in the SUI blockchain, SUI. Maybe you want to use turbos, right? Or you want to hop on a perps on Jupiter, on Solana. Maybe you want to hop on Drift Protocol, or maybe you want to hop on Camino Finance on Solana, or maybe you want to hop on Orca, right? Or maybe you even want to go on Uniswap V3 and Ethereum has figured out its freaking gas fees thing, and or maybe they don't even matter what their gas fees are. I don't know, but you can do it from the Xamin wallet, from your Crossmark wallet extension, from your Gem wallet extension. It's just one thing, just one place, and you'll be able to do that, right? You'll be able to do that. And those other ecosystems being able to come over the XRPL as well. That's why he mentioned the dApps. The dApps, the builders, they understand the prowess of the XRPL. David Schwartz has said time and time again, it's awesome, but it takes a long time. It's awesome, but not a lot of people know how to code and do work on the XRPL. It's not easy. This integration, and along with the Esmos thing, changes all of that. It changes all of that. And that's what we need. We need it's not just about interoperability. We need all those integrations. And because people are going to come and discover what's going on here. And they know they can leverage that kind of easier EVM thing to build something, but still gain access to the XRPL and other ecosystems. It's going to be a game changer. Let's continue listening.
Definitely looking forward to it. Reza, over to you. Sologenic and Corium are also tackling this space head on. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your project leverages the XRPL's capabilities in order to build your solution?
So Sologenic's, one of Sologenic's core objectives has always been to tokenize securities like stocks, ETFs. And so the XRP ledger provides most of the tools we need to do that. You have the trust lines, which allows you to whitelist or blacklist any address, which is required by regulatory frameworks. And then you have the XRPL DEX, which allows you to provide liquidity on demand for any asset to any asset. So despite having the AMMs, which are great for popular assets like Bitcoin, USDC, XRP, USDC, and so on, the order book DEX of the XRP ledger allows you to swap any asset against any asset before providing the liquidity. So you don't need to have the liquidity to be able to swap.
Hugely important. It's massively important. And the word about things like this, like he's speaking to the prowess, to the robustness, to the huge thing that is the XRPL. More and more people are going to discover that. More and more people are going to discover it. And I think it's just going to be a game changer, but
or to be able to participate in that market. That's great. But then we took it as a bit further by introducing Corium, obviously, to extend a DeFi functionalities for these RWAs and tokenized assets. As assets move a cross-chain in a trustless way. They can be used in other DeFi applications like lending, borrowing, or any other AMM pools that are available on the whole IBC-based chains. And I think that is actually really good because it allows institutions to tokenize assets, real-world assets, securities, or anything, real estate, in one chain and be able to use it on the other chain. And the XRP ledger, as Jason mentioned, is in a really good position for institutions to just do that. So we're providing the required tools around the whole ecosystem. And then that's what essentially being multi-chain means here in this space.
Yeah.
If I may, I really like the positioning of that. And then what it really means, basically what you are describing, it's really putting XRPL at the center of a potential network of networks. I really like this idea because that is also representing kind of growing an ecosystem, but also growing a network of the roots of a tree, of a forest of trees that really permeate the soil around them. And because of that, the reach that we can have into the society and into the population it's enormous. So we can.
So it's enormous. He caught the bigger picture, the network of networks. This is what's happening. And the answer has always been that the Ripple can't do it alone. Right? It can't do it alone. And so when I hear that guy say that, I was like, man, yeah, this is a guy from Futureverse. Getting excited about the potential. For sure. Most don't know Axelar and Corium both belong to Cosmos. Yeah, a lot of people don't know. You're right about that, Contextual. That's exactly right. Axelar, I think Axelar is going to, you go to their site, I know they're hooked up, or they got Centrifuge as an RWA using their technology as well. And Centrifuge is going to be a pretty big player, I think, in the RWA space. But I thought it was interesting, the guy from Futureverse is like, oh, wow. Okay, that's what you guys, that's gonna be really exciting. And that's exactly what Ripple is, the Ripple X team is positioning the XRPL to do, right? The bridge thing is gonna be awesome and stuff. You got the native token XRP, you're gonna have XRP as a gas token. I don't know how it's gonna be wrapped, whatever. But putting it all together, I think, was smart. And choosing Axelar, I think, was hugely smart because of the access to that other ecosystem over there for sure. And and then as XRP holders, we're going to have those things, and we'll have FXRP, and that will be able to be used as well. So, as an XRP holder, that's the name of the game for me, right? For us as holders, being able to do what it is that we can do. Dano says, great stuff. Thank you, Steve. You're welcome, Dano. So hold on one second. I'm gonna be talking. You guys won't be able to hear me. Sorry, I had to say bye to my podcast spam because my thing doesn't work as well. What up? Oh, Alex, you checked in. What's going on, Alex? I didn't see you check in. I didn't see you check in. So anyone see my live stream the other day? I was talking about The Great Taking, that book, The Great Taking. You can go to thegreattaking.com. I encourage you, if you're wanting to shore up and ensure, if you will, an honest shot at your financial future, if you want to shore up an honest shot and have and not have your stuff taken away from you, because it's already has been I don't want to use the word demonetized. There's another word for it. Subjected. Was it subverted? It's already been subverted. 99% of the financial assets that you think that you own has already been subverted. So highly encourage you to, again, thegreattaking.com. You can download the PDF, read the prologue. I highly encourage you to do that. Don't skip the prologue. Read that prologue, because if you read the prologue, everything in there will make sense. It's stack after stack after stack. It's the credibility. It's the big story. It's the big picture. And then you'll get into the meat of the book, and it'll all come together, and you'll be like, dang, we have to do something, but this is crazy. When they talk about the elite, it's a real deal. When they talk about what's the other thing they call those few elite people? I forget. It's another phrase they use. It's real. And when you read the prologue, you'll get the sense of this dude's background, and you'll know, and you'll be like, wow. Meeting up with Soros, wow. Meeting up with this one, wow. And you'll understand. This dude has a tremendous background and is quite honestly putting his life and his family's life on the line. And it will not come off as a conspiracy theory. It will not come off that way. If you read the prologue, What's going on, Conscious Contact? How are you, bro? So listen, I'm going to hop off here. I just wanted to share that talk Thursday with you and feature my guy, Jungle Inc., a dude that's just not afraid to speak the truth, willing to accept the good and the bad. The cabal is a good one. Willing to speak both the good and the bad. You got to give praise when praise is due. And hey, sometimes you got to do the other thing. No one's giving up. I'm not giving up on Ripple. I am not giving up on the little XRP I have left. Certainly, we have a diversified portfolio, but I'm not giving up on that. I think this promise, what's going on here forward, is looking really, really good. And I would just highly encourage you guys to don't think it's going to be some institution that's going to come in and change the game. Look into what Axelar is doing. When it's available to be used, use it. When that bridge and that access to and fro is being able to be used, highly encourage you to use it. I'll be doing videos on how to do so. I've been on Evmos, I've been on Osmosis, I've been on Neutron. I'm staking Celestia and Atom and freaking Kava, and I don't know, 5 or 6 of them, right? And so Neutron is, pay attention. Axelar, pay attention. And I think in collaboration, there's going to be some stuff over here and some stuff over there, some collaborations between ecosystems, maybe some joint collaborations in terms of liquidity events. You don't know. Arbitrum's doing that. Arbitrum is always doing liquidity events. Always. I just got something that they're hooking up with Notional. Notional, for all freaking crying out loud. For a liquidity incentive event, right? And so these are the opportunities. They're being opened up now, and I think it's super, super awesome. We don't have to have one thing doing all of everything. We don't have to have one crypto that's the crypto of all cryptos. We don't have to have that. But that ledger, I'm telling you, and what it does, and David says it does about 10 things really, really, really well. Those are game-changing things. For sure. All right, fam. Thanks, guys. Yeah, the real big will. Hit those likes, people. Do me a favor and hit that like button if you didn't do it on the way in, no worry. Just collapse the chat. Go smash that like and then come back and hang out for sure. If you happen to be in that, speaking of hanging out, if you happen to be in that 50% or of people who are hanging out, listening, watching the crypto season, haven't subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. If you are enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.